Hey, true believers, and welcome back to the web. I know it's been a while, but I'm back with an unboxing and comparison. Now, technically speaking, this isn't an unboxing, but just one moment. Let me explain. Huh? Okay. So, technically, this is an unboxing. But the reason for that is I've ordered this suit 3 times. 3 times to get it to this, which isn't perfect, but it's within an acceptable range for me personally. So that's why there's no unboxing, because honestly, I got tired of like setting up the camera, getting ready to do this great, being very excited and being like, oh cool, let's unbox this Universal Studios replica suit, and then just being bummed. I've ordered it 3 times from 2 different people, and so I decided, you know what, I'm going to skip that portion and jump right to the actual sort of like reviewing and talking about the suit. And I figured since I ordered it 3 times, I could sort of talk about that process and sort of like the pitfalls of it. So as I said before, this is a Universal Studios like replica suit of, yeah. So like I said before, this is a replica suit of the old Universal suit. So it is red and blue fabric, with the web lines printed on in black. What am I supposed to do? So like I was saying, this is a Universal replica suit. So for those of you who kind of don't know, this is roughly what the Universal suit looked like. The Universal Studios sort of mascot suit looked like many years ago. Mine is slightly tweaked. The spider emblem is slightly different for my own purposes because I'm going to use this suit to create, you know what, I don't want to reveal it yet. But I did slightly tweak the spider to better match the source material of the suit that I am using this for. So mine is slightly different, okay? It's not perfect. So the pattern is by Alt Spidey over on Instagram. His doobly-doo is right here. Spider Pleb also makes a very similar pattern, probably near identical. I don't know if they work together, but to my eyes, they're nearly identical. So you can use either or. I've seen more people use Spider Plebs. I don't know, but yeah. So the whole point of this video, sort of the comparison and sort of the pitfalls. Like I said, I've attempted to get this suit made 3 times, and every single time is run into the same issues of fitting weird or not like fitting right. On previous suits, the first suit I had made by Print Costume, and the suit they sent me didn't really fit at all. The upper body was way too big all over. The hood was way too big, even with the face shell that added like 2 inches to my head. I'll try and put a picture right here of it. It was rough. And when I reached out to them to ask them, hey, what's the deal, dude? I was told we don't really have experience sewing those kinds of suits. And what they mean by that is suits that Alt Spidey and Spider Pleb have designed where essentially it is just the line work and then it's separated out onto a red file and a blue file. According to Print Costume, they had no they were unexperienced with sort of doing that style of pattern, so that's why it didn't turn out right. That was kind of their excuse, which is surprising to me because I know of people who had did it before. In fact, Spider Pleb has a whole how-to order this pattern for Print Costume, which I followed step by step so it's weird that that was the excuse that they gave. Yeah, they were like, we can't, yeah. So yeah, that was weird. So I decided, okay, well, I typically don't love Herostime, but they're kind of the only other option, and I know other people have used them before for this suit, specifically Spider Pleb's pattern. So I was like, it should be fine. So I reached out to them beforehand and was like, hey, I have this pattern. I sent them the pattern. I was like, can you do this on colored fabrics with these, the mesh eyes and the zipper across the shoulders? and all the quirks that come with the suit. Can you do this? And you do that. They're like, yeah, we can do that. We do that all, we've done that plenty. And then they showed like suits that they've done like that. I was like, great, cool, awesome. Waited a couple months till I felt like comfortable dropping the money on it again. It's not a super expensive suit by any means, but it's still like money. It's like, I mean, I could put this money into this suit, which I've already seen fail, that people have already told me they can't make, or I could put the money into just like a standard sub-dye suit that I know will turn out right. So that was kind of like my dilemma. Anyways, so I ordered from them. The suit I ended up getting back had almost near identical, the same exact problems as the print costume suit. And I'm like, what's going on? I was like, why is this such an issue for you guys? I don't understand. Because it's all my same measurements. I've said this on the channel before. I'm 32 years old. My body hasn't changed in weight. I measure myself from time to time. It has not changed. I haven't shrunk. So there's no, I don't know why, they were having such a problem with it. And it was pretty much near identical of the same issues. The upper body portion was just far too big, specifically more so on the bicep sections. They were just huge to the point where they almost draped like sleeves. The hood, however, on the Herostime suit did fit better. Not perfect, but heck of a lot, way better. Like within a parameter that I would say is like, okay, it kind of works. But it didn't fit. And so I was like, hey guys, why no look good? And sort of, they're like, oh, hey, sorry. We'll send you a new one. So they did. And this is the new one. Now, need to say that once again, it doesn't fit 100% right. But when you see the photos over here, hopefully they're right here, you will see that it fits way better. The sleeves are still a little loose up here. A little bit. But they're not super baggy and they're not like super like draping almost off my, arms. The mask is actually perfectly sewn. It's absolutely perfect to my face. It's great. There's not too much neck wrinklage, which sometimes happens. You'll have a lot of extra fabric here, but then none here. I have another suit that I ordered. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I ordered a Mangaverse suit in very much kind of the same style, and the mask fits fairly good, but again, a lot of like extra fabric here, and yeah, and on that suit I have removable sleeves, and the removable sleeves fit really good here and then are really big here. Everywhere else though, perfect. So again, I don't know what the issue is, but it took a long time, took months to get to this end result. I just got this suit about like 2 weeks ago, and I've kind of been putting it on. Because if you're a Spidey cosplayer, you know the worst thing in the world is when you're waiting for a suit for like a couple months, you finally get it, and then it doesn't fit, and then you gotta wait for it to come. You're kind of like debilitated, and you don't really care anymore. But I'm happy that it fits. It's really exciting. So yeah, I'm just gonna talk about it a little bit and show it off in case you yourself are interested in owning a suit like this. So the first thing we have, I talked about it before, is the mesh eyes. That's just how it was on the original suit that they used at the parks. The visibility is really stinking good on it, which is great if you're going to be doing like a lot of charity events and stuff, because they're not going to fog up or anything. They cover like enough of your eyes that nobody can like really see them. So it works. But if I were to get really close to you, I mean, you can see through it fairly easily, but they work otherwise, but they're still great. That's kind of like the trade-off that you're making there. Some people are going to care about that, some people aren't going to care about that. I think it's kind of nice being able to have it, because it's just, you just pull the hood on and you're good to go. Like, you don't have to fiddle with alignment of the mask, you don't have to worry I don't know, if like a kid knocks off your lenses or something or anything like that. It's just, there is a sense of security that comes with the white parts of your lenses just being sewn in. But that's gonna, that's gonna vary on your aesthetics and how much you care. I think it's great if you're on a budget and you want something that like looks great, but you don't want to have like sort of the crappy attached lenses that a lot of these companies just slap on their suits. So I think in that regard, it's actually a perfect sort of trade-off. If, like I said, if you're on a budget and you want a suit that looks as good as possible, this might actually be a much better solution than just doing like the custom lens option from Print Costume or Herostime, because, like I said, in my opinion, they're not worth the money. So at least with this, if they look good on the pattern, then they're probably going to look good on your face. Okay, just be aware of how big you do them or how small you do them. The smaller, the better they're going to look. The bigger, the more wonky they might turn out. So just be aware of that. The second feature of this suit, which I wouldn't recommend anybody getting. I only did it because that's kind of the whole point of the suit, was to have the thing. But I wouldn't recommend it. And that is a zipper that runs across your shoulder here. Reason I don't recommend it is I have yet to find a way to be able to get into this suit myself when the zipper runs across the shoulder. Maybe I'm the minority in that group. I don't know. I much prefer the U-zips. I know some people hate the U-zips. I love the U-zips. I can get into the U-zips by myself. Once you've done it a couple times, they're easy to get into as long as your zippers don't suck. If your zippers suck, yeah, it's a bad time, but at least you got two of them. You know what I mean? With this, I hate it. I don't love it, but, for the sake of sort of recreating the suit and being able to kind of like talk about it and review it, I wanted to keep that feature. So yeah, unfortunately I can't get in and out. Well, I can get out of it, but I can't get into this thing without the help of my wife. Why did I say fiance? My wife. The third feature, which I already kind of like mentioned when I was talking about the suit, is that it is on colored fabrics. So again, cheaper alternative to make like a really nice looking suit, but as we've talked about on this channel before, colored fabrics are really, really sensitive and they're not very durable. So, just be aware of that when you go in, that this is a suit that you're going to have to replace a lot quicker than something that's on the like super lycra from Print Costume. It's going to last like years before it starts to like wear and tear and kind of fade. These won't fade because they're colored fabrics, but they're gonna get like the little fabric puffering, like puffs and stuff, anytime you kind of hit any material that's, rougher than a smooth piece of, wood or whatever. You know what I mean? So just be aware of that, especially if you're intending to wear the suit for like charity events and things. If you get caught on zippers or buckles or just anything, kids can have, tough nails. It can get pricked on a nail, like, so just be wary of kind of that as well. Again, I think colored fabrics look fantastic, and for the sake of recreating the suit, I wanted to do that. But it's not really a feature that I typically recommend. It's just kind of like a budgetary things. Like I said, if your suit can do it and you're not going to be wearing it all the time, I think it's a fine cost-saving measure that still makes your suit look fantastic and sort of authentic and realistic to what a Spider-Man suit would actually look like. So that's something to consider. No attached shoes, because I'm going to do a video about attaching my own. I've talked about it in length. I don't really love the attached shoes that other companies do, so I'm going to do it myself. The other feature I did do on these, though, for this, is my foot is rounded. I had them sew the feet rounded to fit the shape of a shoe, because if you don't do that, what happens is they sew it to fit the shape of a typical human foot, so it curves, and then when you go to install a shoe into that or install soles, you have like a weird bit of extra fabric that you have to like hide or sort of like finagle to try and cover that that shoe or hide in the sole or around the sole properly. So if you have it just like this, then you don't have to worry about that. It's just so much easier. So I just that's another thing that I did personally that I've kind of started to do when I order suits, just because I know it'll make my life easier in the long run, make the suit look better. The back emblem is top stitched. We've kind of talked about this before, but if you are doing colored fabrics, obviously you can't print red on blue, so you have to have your back emblems top stitched on. Now again, depending on your suit, you're not going to be able to do that. This is how it was done on the original suit, so that's how it is also done here. Hands are just like this. These are a little tight, but probably because they don't have what's called gaskets in between these fingers. That makes it so that the pattern is kind of seamless when you have the gaskets. Those are kind of sections of just plain fabric that go around to add a little more room for your fingers. PC print costume is kind of does that now a lot. On my two recent suits they didn't, but I guess it also maybe depends on who made your pattern if they included the gaskets. It's pretty typical for most pattern makers to have the gaskets on their suit patterns, but they might not, and if they don't, you end up with fingers like this. The only downside to having fingers like this is, like I said, they can get sewn kind of tight and they can get kind of difficult to put on I found more often than the ones with gaskets. So that's just something to note too. The other thing to note is just you might have variance in color depending on where you order your suit from. So this one is the print costume suit. Now, there's not much of a difference, but I felt I would let you guys know that there will be slight color variance. As you can see, this is a deeper blue. This is actually just a slightly more lighter, kind of closer to like a sky blue color than this suit. I would actually argue that this blue is closer to what I've seen in photos of the original suit. So that might be something to consider too. Like I said, they have different colored fabrics, they have different kind of thicknesses. Overall, the thickness and everything of it feels samey to me as the Herostime suit does. I just think that the only difference I really noticed is the colors of the blue are significantly different. I think maybe these colored fabrics have just a little bit less shimmer to them. This one's just a little more shimmery than this one, which is a little more dull. There's not a lot of that colored fabric shimmer. I believe that Print Costume recently updated their color fabrics to be a little different. I think, from my experience, that's what I was able to tell. So I think that's kind of the result of it. I think the colored fabrics that the colored fabrics that Herostime is currently using is probably the same that Print Costume was using up until, I don't know, like about half a year ago or something. And then they switched over to these that are a little more muted or matte, a little more matte, and don't have that sort of shimmery to them. As far as I can tell, they're not any more durable. They're just, they got a little less of that light catching shimmer. That's up to you and whether you care about that or not. And then, like I said, the blues are definitely like a different shade that they use. The reds, I think, are near identical. There's just very, very minor differences in the shade. And mainly the biggest difference I've noticed is, again, the shimmer in the fabrics. So just something to note. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. I've rambled long enough about the universal replica suit and sort of my issues having it made. I don't know why I seem to be the only one having these particular issues with getting it made. I don't know if it's like specifically an alt Spidey pattern issue, because most people I see who do have this suit use Spider Pleb's pattern. I don't know. But, you know, I only ever really talk about my experiences and sort of relay that to you guys, and you do with it what you will. Otherwise, I mean, I really love the suit. The material feels good, it looks good, it printed nice. You know, the mask fits perfectly. It fits better than any other mask that I own. So I literally can't complain about anything other than this being still a little too loose. Maybe it's an issue of just the shoulder zip. That could be an issue. I know that the style of zipper you get can affect how something fits. I've noticed that kind of myself. If I order something with a straight zip, I need to add a little more height because otherwise it will kind of pull back. I have that issue with my websuit. Versus, you know, if I have something that's a U-zip and like a detached mask, I typically don't run into that problem. But sometimes the issue then becomes like the hood might just end up too small, and so sometimes it's just safer to order a detached mask. You know, there's a lot of intricacies and things that go into this that you might particularly deal with that I don't ever have to worry about. But again, I just want that information out there for you guys. But that's going to be it for this video. Like I said, guys, thank you for checking it out. I hope you found it informative and helpful to you in your own sort of needs. If you'd like to see me do more unboxings from different creators, there's definitely a few that have kind of been on my radar that I'd be sort of interested in checking out. I don't know, maybe suggest them down below. I've kind of hit the point in my Spider-Man career where I like trying different makers and trying different ways of putting a suit together to be more cost effective and be able to make more of them. So I'm always definitely kind of interested in checking out other suit creators and kind of seeing what else is kind of out there, making content and sort of relaying information. Anyways, so maybe leave that down below. I don't know, maybe you've ordered one of these suits. How did it turn out? Did it turn out like crap the first couple times too? I would be curious because there's not too many people that have been able to talk to about it to kind of see how these companies actually do fare with making these things. Either way, if you want to sort of keep up with me and the weird content that I make on here, maybe hit the subscribe button, go a step further, hit that little doobly bell thing so that way you know when I actually do get around to uploading content. I try to be pretty consistent, at least uploading one video a month. Sometimes it just doesn't happen, but yeah, some really cool stuff coming. It's just they're actual proper productions with real teams and people behind it, so those end up taking a lot more time to make. So yeah, with that, I am gonna go eat or something. See you later.